let's just make sure we,
Oh, wow.
yeah, not bad.
I didn't know what voice to use for this. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, you can change. You can.
Sure, yeah.
You can do the chameleon.
Here it is.
Yeah.
It's too deep.
No, that's good.
That's good. Feels right.
Yeah. So we'll go here. Don't be nervous.
Sweaty palms.
Don't get sweaty palms.
No
need for that.
Natural stage fright.
Yeah?
Time. Oh my god. Every time I get on stage, it's just like diarrhea.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's probably similar to sports because I feel like, I mean, I grew up playing baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the sport I played the longest, but same thing. Like, didn't matter. Like, I could have an amazing game or season or whatever. Every single time, it's still like, this is the one.
Yeah.
I just lose it all.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
If you're not getting just shitting your brains out nervous before something, you shouldn't be doing it.
That's true.
It means you love it. It means it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. How often do you go up to? Do you go on stage?
It's been so long,
Really?
I can't even count. Honestly, I can't even count the days. It's I originally started the job I have now with the intention of having more free time to get on stage, and that did not work out.
No.
The exact opposite, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit.
Just well, because they pay you in coupons at Zoom Care, so it's just like I was like, cool, I can make this work. I can make it work. And then I was like, oh my god, I need to work 50 hours a week at least.
Yeah.
To make rent.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you're that tired and that sick all the time, you don't ever want to be.
That's true. That's true.
It's fun.
And that is a great segue to our intro. This is the Stay Curious podcast.
Great segue for you.
I have a comedian. Well, I have Mr. Reed Shackelford here. I don't think I should be the one to.
That is 100% how you introduced me, by the way. Like, we have a comedian. Oh, actually, I don't know about that. We have a guy here.
Yeah, there's a guy. He's got hair and teeth. Yeah. So, Reed, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ken.
This is your first podcast
Ever, yeah.
Which is kind of fun, like because you've already had stage time, as we were just talking about. But this is sort of a different platform.
Totally different.
And I didn't plan this, but this is actually International Podcast Day. Yeah. So this is like the day of the days for podcasting, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I just do this as a hobby. I enjoy the hell out of it, but I wouldn't consider myself like a legit, real, full-time podcaster. I'm definitely not. But nonetheless, it's kind of neat to be practicing the craft. Well, let's be real. We kind of create these international days just for the hell of it anyway, but nonetheless.
It's long ago, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mayans, they're like, International Podcast Day.
Yeah. So are your nerves gone now? Because we're a few minutes in, and
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We burned some time.
Is that how it goes when you get
150%?
Yeah. Just as soon as you start going, it's like.
I want to say that's it, but it's probably just hearing the sound of my voice for a while soothes me.
Ah, there you go.
Because, I mean, my girlfriend told us this morning, she said I was one of the most, humble, calm people, but also one of the most arrogant at the same time. She didn't get how it works.
Right.
And I probably don't either. It's just, you gotta have balance.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I would say similarly, that's one of the things that that attracted Sarah to me was that I was this Midwest, because I moved here from Indiana. So I was this nice Midwestern kid, which, don't get me wrong, I'm still a nice guy. I am. Sure. But I like sarcasm. I just ooze it all the time, and I love it. And I really appreciate, without lack of a better way to say it, the British delivery of humor, where it's like, I'm going to give it to you one time, and I'm not going to spoon feed it to you, and if you don't get it, then you don't get it.
Totally.
It's not my problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just fucking pile that shit on too, and she had a hard time, sorting those two things out for a while, but
she's like, this guy's such a dick. God.
I thought he was nice, he's from the cornfields, what the fuck? So I still catch her off guard every now and again, which I truly appreciate. But it's I'm learning.
Totally.
A learning curve. But yeah, it's been a while since you've been on stage.
Mm-hmm.
What, I guess, taking a few steps back, what led you to want to do that?
Ooh, good question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Were you like, as a kid, were you kind of the class clown guy, or?
I was.
Yeah.
I was definitely the class clown. I loved attention.
Mm-hmm.
I loved making people laugh.
Yeah.
It was one of my early tricks that you learn, you know? So when I was a kid, I always was way more interested in what the adults were doing than what the kids were doing.
Yeah.
And I was like an old soul at age 5.
Right.
I'm like, okay, guys, we're no blocks. We're gonna try to figure this shit out over here.
Right.
So I always just watched them. My parents hung around a lot of funny people.
Mm-hmm.
My dad had a lot of like gregarious lawyer friends who were just so charming.
Yeah.
And just so funny.
Yeah.
And I'd always like watch what they did, and I would try to emulate it, having no idea what I was saying. Like I would tell jokes I didn't understand all the time, and half of it was just like this kid fucking saying it. And I loved it. I ate it up. I was like, whatever works.
Right.
But then I tried that when I went to school with like kids, and they didn't get it at all.
Right.
So I just made the teachers laugh,
and
then I had to make the kids laugh with the low hanging fruit. So this is where the arrogance came from. A 5-year-old who thought my peers were pedantic. I was like,
right.
Kids, whatever. But no, I just love making people laugh. I think that's probably the purest state for someone to be in.
I agree with that.
You know, I mean, it's hard to be upset when you're laughing. It's hard to overthink something when you're laughing.
Yeah.
It just kind of cleanses you.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. That's one of the things that I've come to appreciate, because I wouldn't say for most of my life I've been a consumer of comedy necessarily. I mean, like you said, everyone likes to laugh. It's just a natural state, and it makes you feel good. But since I really started listening to podcasts more and more, and like podcasts with comedians in it, so just hearing them fucking rant back and forth.
Yeah, I love it.
And what I've really come to appreciate is that humor at inappropriate time. Well, that humor at like societally inappropriate times.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, that's one of your only options you have.
That's the only option.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And like, just the willingness to use it at that point and like say something totally fucked, just as a way to like get someone to just break it down in their mind. Some people don't. Some people refuse to do that. They're like, that's just so inappropriate.
It's cathartic, you know.
Yeah.
I read this article of this guy talking about Louis C.K. How he said Louis C.K. is like one of the best Zen philosophers, like Buddhist philosophers.
Yeah.
Because he points out the absurdity of things.
And
it's like almost like a Zen cone. It's kind of like stops your thought process, and you realize how ridiculous this whole thing is.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, yeah, that's fun, because he jokes about death, all these things that are like these heavy issues, and he makes them hilarious.
Yeah.
Like I went to see his show here in town. He was here last year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
His first 5 minutes were about suicide, abortion, death, just like terrorists. I was like, oh my! I have never laughed that hard in my life. Like I was hurting and no sound was coming out. I was laughing so hard.
He just set the stage right away and like, look, this is how this is gonna go.
It was amazing. I've never been so happy. Oh.
Is he one of your favorites?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm nothing like him on stage, but he's one of my favorites. Nothing like him. Nothing.
Yeah.
I remember my first ever stand-up set at the Boiler Room doing open mic night. And it was actually just after I'd broken up with my current girlfriend. We broke up for a few months.
Okay.
And I was just sideways drunk. And I didn't know what to do. But I just wanted to feel good. So I went up there and I was like, screw it, we're doing this. We're doing this.
Nice.
And I have no recollection of the jokes. I remember one joke, my opening joke, which I won't retell because my girlfriend just wanted to do. But it was such an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And the whole room, to get back to the point, is like, you just feel the whole room lighten up. Just not even during my set, but everyone's set.
Right.
I mean, this whole room of people from all over the walks of life, as far as Portland goes for diversity.
Yeah.
Especially in that part of town. The 25 white people in the room. I mean, they were all really bonding.
Yeah.
But you just see everyone just lighten up every time. Even when someone was bad, they were just like, well, they tried.
Yeah.
Which is so, heartwarming.
Right.
When you see someone put themselves out there and everyone knows they're not good, including that person.
Right.
But like everyone's just being nice about it. It's
Yeah.
just being a total dick. Which is, as a comedian, is the worst thing. You don't want to bomb.
Right.
I mean, that was my biggest fear about getting into it, was bombing.
Right.
I did not want bomb, so I didn't do stand-up for like years because I was like, I gotta be perfect before I do it.
Sure.
And it's not how it works.
Well, and I totally understand that feeling of like wanting to lighten. I mean, like it's a form of helping people, right? For sure.
Yeah.
In terms of making them laugh. I mean,
absolutely.
At least that's the way I sort of look at it. But to connect that, like we all probably have a bit of a comedian in us.
Oh, absolutely.
Depending on how much we like let it breathe and let it out, and if we water it or not, let it grow.
Totally.
Because I make myself laugh. I'm not afraid to admit it. I make myself laugh all the time. Like I'll just say sometimes like just the stupidest shit comes to my head, and I'll just say it without even thinking it. I'll just say it, and I'll fucking laugh, and I'll be in the shower or something. Sarah's like, "What are you doing?" So like,
just be my biggest fan, man.
Right,
be my biggest fan.
Being able to present like that type of shit to other people,
mm-hmm.
and either it resonates or it doesn't. But
totally.
Either way, like I can see how that's really, like you said, cathartic.
It's super cathartic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is. I think that's one of the things that keeps me interested in it, is because it really does help people. I mean, I'm not saying that every comedian's a saint or like there's some like divine calling, but like, if that's your gift, I mean, you're wasting it if you're not making people laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, even people like the funny guy at work, like that guy's doing his part.
Yeah.
And that's all I've ever done at work.
Mm-hmm.
Any job I've had, I don't know how I've kept my jobs. I don't do a thing. I mean, I make it look like I'm doing something, but like most of the time, I'm just cheering people up.
Right.
Like I've had a job where I was called the nickname the director of morale because I didn't do anything, and the boss just like allowed it. People hated it, but also were okay with it because I was like, tell a joke or two.
Is that this is a different job than when you had the title of chief hello officer?
Every job.
Yeah.
Every single job. That job too, I don't even know. It makes sense that they laid me off. I didn't do a thing. I did something that like a door sensor should do.
Right.
I just like interrupted people and drank tea and cleaned the kitchen.
Nice.
That was a really great job.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I hope that you, and I'm sure you will at some point, but you find that space and time to like be able to practice that again.
I need to. My girlfriend was on me about it.
Really?
I mean,
that's cool though that she's like supportive and she knows that it's something you enjoy.
Yeah, she's probably the one person that actually like kicks me in the ass to get me to do stuff.
Yeah.
Because if it was up to me, I would just, I don't even know, just be lazy.
Sure. I mean, to be 100% transparent, for me it's the same thing with this show. Like I like doing this and I enjoy sitting down like in the moment. This is awesome right now. But you, at the same time, it's a process, right? It takes work and energy, and you gotta set shit up, and you gotta like do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like a lot of us are lazy people. That's what it comes down to. Like it's the fucking weekend. We can just hang. But back to the point, Sarah also like encourages me. She's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing in your next podcast? Who are you gonna interview?" And because she knows like once it's done and like I have the experience that I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I can relate on that.
Totally. Have you read The War of Art by Steven Pressfield?
I have not. I've heard of it. I've heard it recommended several times.
You're just quoting it right now.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, you're just dropping wisdom. It's just, I mean, it's the whole idea of like resistance. It's anytime you set out to do something that's like good for you or important, this like protean force comes up where you just like, it just fights against it and like pushes you away from it. And you're like, no, I have these other important things to do. Or I gotta go work out, and I don't have time for this, or this isn't calling. It just definitely gets annoying. What made you want to start doing the podcast? What was your like motivation?
Great question. It was kind of a cumulative effect, I would say, but it started from the beginning when I started listening to podcasts with the Joe Rogan Experience.
Good one.
He has however many 20 million listeners or whatever the fuck he has at this point. So
many podcasts too.
Yeah, over 1,000. So I would listen to him, and that was really my first exposure. But he runs a very great show, and he has these super interesting people, including Steven Pressfield. So there's all this knowledge, and it blew my mind that there was all this like literal education that you could get for free. And not only was it education, but it was entertaining. So the more I listened to it, the more I was like, wow, this is really cool. And probably 2 years into it, I decided like, maybe I could give this a go. So I just asked my buddies, And at the time, none of them were interested. He was like, nah, I'm good. I was like, okay, I guess I'm good too. Guess not.
You're like, okay, never mind. Don't say anything. I'm gonna go hide now.
Yeah, dreams are over.
Sorry about that.
And then, so a couple more years go by, and I didn't think about it too much. And then I moved here, and one of my good friends who I met here, his name's Dion. He was running his own podcast for about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And he asked me to be a guest, and I went and was a guest on the show. And kind of like you're doing now, once I sort of lifted up the podcast rock, if you will, and like looked underneath at all the quote unquote scary stuff, and realized it's not scary at all, and like there's not really many moving parts to this. It's actually pretty easy.
But you think there's so many going into it.
Right.
Like just today, I was like, what the fuck does Kellen want to talk to me about? Like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Right.
I was like trying to look through books I read, and I was like trying to compress quotes. I was like, fuck, okay, what if he brings up like stoicism? Like, okay, that's not an asshole. Like, what do you even have to say to anyone? And I mean, I can only imagine starting it. Were you in that same vein? You're like, what am I going to talk about?
Yeah, so the first time, once I was a guest, I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to, like anything else you start, there's no great time to start it. The great time to start is when you just decide to put the first foot down.
Yeah, the best time to start is when you think you should.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, fuck it are the best words to start anything.
Yes, definitely.
No good thing has ever started with like, we figured it out, guys, now's the time.
Yeah,
it's like,
the perfect plan.
Fuck it. I had a Saturday free.
Yeah, definitely. So that's when I decided to do it. And then from there, when I actually got all the kind of framework in place, and then I got the mic, got all the shit, and sat down in front of the mic the first time, because I did like a solo intro, which is actually even more intimidating than this, because it's like my mind just blah. It's not like stand-up, actually.
It's like trying to set an outgoing message for yourself.
Yeah, you leave somebody a 30-minute voicemail.
I hate it.
What are you talking about?
God, I hate it.
So that was pretty intimidating. Of like,
I bet.
But I got through it, and like anything else new, kind of as we were talking about with the show, you do it more, and you learn more, and you get better. So it's an ongoing practice. But,
do you feel like it's gotten easier every single time, or do you feel like there's times where it just gets, you're like, I've got it figured out, and then something pops up, and you're like, fuck.
Well, so this is going to be like my 22nd show, 23rd, something like that. So I haven't done a ton of them.
Still a lot.
That being said, I've had lots of conversations with people, as we all have.
Yeah. Your life's a podcast.
Right. But I would say, and that's why I wanted to do this, because I wanted to actually capture those snippets of those great times you have with other people. I mean, you and I have had multiple conversations outside, at work, where the best. Yeah, really fun. It's like, okay, fuck, that would have been great if we could have captured that.
Yeah.
But that's part of what wanted to make me do this, was to like be able to package it and deliver it out to other people. And I've lost my train of thought.
Oh my, I have ADD. I mean, honestly, the first, 18 minutes of this, I have no idea what I said. It took me 12 minutes and 43 seconds. I was watching to not feel like an asshole. I was like, are people going to think I'm the biggest dick right now? Like,
no, not at all.
Do I sound terrible?
No.
I have a very nasally voice. That's all I'm thinking about. Obviously, you're great quotes, but like all I'm thinking about is how I sound like an old Jewish woman with a cold.
No, dude, you're doing awesome.
Good.
Your question was, does this ever feel like it gets easy?
Yeah.
I would say no, actually. I think it's the same as stand-up or anytime you have like a quote-unquote performance that you want to put on. Like that, saying that in the sense of like you want to put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you care about it, if you want it to be like decent, then you're going to have that feeling of like, okay, get your shit together. Like,
totally.
Do it right. So I think I always bring that to the table.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't always show that, but there's always that kind of going on. There's always kind of that going on in the background of like, I want it to be awesome, and I want to give a good experience. So that definitely comes up, but it's part of what keeps it going, and and what makes it enjoyable for me and
keeps driving you
for other people. What I do think is really cool is that this doing this show, I've probably had probably more than that. 5 or 6 people have never done a podcast. Because I'm just kind of drawing off like my friends and people I know. So it's really cool because, you know, a show like Joe's or all these other big shows, like these are like public figures, right? Yeah, so they've probably done interviews or whatever before. So I think being able to like share this in the moment is really cool.
I love it.
With someone who's never done it before.
Yeah. It's super weird, but I love it.
Yeah, it is. And I've had like the other guests have the same exact reaction as you. Like, kind of as I did on my first one, of like what, like you said, like what do I have? Like I'm looking at my bag here, like I don't see anything.
Yeah. It's that whole thing. It's like you're just like, what have I ever learned? What's my opinion on anything?
Right. Well, my first show with Dion, the guy who kind of helped me, he's actually now a sponsor of the show, which is really cool. Yeah, but the first show I did with him was actually about Zoom performance, because this was way back in the day when that was still
way back when Zoom was doing the good stuff.
Yeah, and Natasha and I actually both were on the show, so that was a bit easier because there was like a topic. There was like a thing we always like resonated back to.
You have that cornerstone.
Right. But when I first came on, it was a little bit different. But at that point, like Dion and I had become friends, and so it's like easier.
It's always easier. I mean, when you already have that kind of like initial interaction with someone, it's so much easier. Yeah. When you first, like, that's the thing about like stand-up is you just have no idea who's in the audience. Right. You have no idea. Right. And like for me, when I first started doing it, I would and I don't know if you've ever done this with your podcast. You try to like worry about what people are thinking about it as you're doing it. Right. Like editing as you're writing or performing. It is nerve-wracking. Yeah. And those have been the worst experiences in my life. Yeah, those are tough. Not in my life. That's insane to say that. That sounds like just the most charming person. That's been the toughest part of my life. It's just like not doing that great around strangers. I don't know why I chose that voice for that. It's super offensive.
All good. No, it's all good. I'm reading, actually on that note, kind of around the idea of like being super over analytical in the moment. I'm reading this really good book that a friend of mine, Casey, recommended to me. It's called Stealing Fire. It's about, have you heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, have you read it?
I've skimmed through it.
Part of it?
Yeah. I'm the kind of guy who starts like 5 books at a time.
Oh, okay.
And then like I finish 2.
I'm usually pretty good about finishing books. Aside from recently, Sarah, my girlfriend, her dad got me this book about Teddy Roosevelt. But it's like a 987-page book.
Never gonna finish it.
Nope. I got like 200 pages through, and I definitely quit. But anyhow, the book Stealing Fire talks about like flow states and how you get into this really like super dialed in state where like your prefrontal cortex essentially like goes offline and you don't have that like constant fucking reel going.
Yeah, it's the worst.
So you can just be super, and it's really cool because they talk about how your perception of time even changes. Yeah. Because if you've ever been like drunk or, which we all have, or
never.
or super high or just some like,
again, never. No, you don't
help. Some altered state, like, you've probably experienced some version of that where you're like, I don't know what happened last night. How did I get on stage and do my first set? You know,
where are my pants? Why am I covered in red paint? Why are there baby carrots everywhere?
So yeah, I think that finding ways, back to your point of like when you're doing something new, like finding ways to try and just shut that other stuff down, and it's way easier said than done, and it's extremely hard to like find that flow state especially, but even like states that are similar to that. Yeah. But you kind of find a rhythm, and it gets a little bit easier, and yeah.
Outside of the podcast, what do you do to kind of get in that state?
Good question.
I
like to. So let's see. I like to do 7-3 deprivation tanks. I don't know if you've ever tried those.
I'm terrified of them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
A lot of people are.
I've eaten one too many bag of shrooms, so really want to enjoy that.
See, and that's actually a really good segue because I've heard of people, you know, shrooms are edibles, and then the tank, and then you're just like on this rocket ship to nowhere.
Oh my god, no! Why would you do that? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I am so uncomfortable that people do that. My skin hurts.
But I've never done shrooms. I want to. Don't do them
unless you really want to.
Yeah,
I'm not going to give you advice, but
because I've gone down the deep end on edibles, and it can be pretty scary.
Yeah, no, edibles are insane because, especially, I mean, okay, have you had the ones that are regulated now, or like back in the day when you're like just free
I think I've done both, but I've definitely done like the homemade batches where you have no fucking clue.
You don't know what you're getting into.
No. And then it's like a 7-hour train ride later, and
you're like, oh great, I decided to shroom today instead of getting a little bit high. This is a wonderful idea, guys.
Right. Yeah. So I've done that with weed, but never with mushrooms. But I'm interested.
I mean, I think it's.
Is there a difference?
Huge.
Yeah.
Just insanely large difference. I think that there is a time and place for everything. I'm one of those people.
Right.
You know, cop out answer almost, but like it's. I feel like there are people that it's help, there are people that it's harm.
Right.
And it really comes down to the person doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had amazing experiences, and I've had like the scariest experiences where I was like walking around for 3 months, like, well, that's real.
Oh man.
Not that bad. I was fine, but.
Well, see, I've never quite had that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had things where I've just like, I can't even like sit still. I'm so freaked out that like
that
still.
Like nervous, like feeling that like rush of energy.
Yeah, like I'm like checking the positioning of my tongue against the roof of my mouth, and then like I spend 6 minutes like thinking about my tongue.
The first 3 minutes.
And then I realize I'm sitting at like 17 degrees.
The best is when you're just like high as hell, and you just have you're just like, okay, you know what? I totally normal. I've got it figured out. And you realize there's like sand in your hair.
Yeah.
All of your belongings. So there's one time I was on shrooms, and it was just a random day at high school, you know, as we all have. Where it's like, you know what? I was in what class? I was in a class where me and like 3 guys were like, you know, let's do shrooms today. It's beautiful. You know, it's gorgeous. Nothing can go wrong.
Right.
We're never gonna die. So like, it ended up being like 7 of us getting together, and then we had this guy sold us these shrooms. I don't know how we got in touch with him. Maybe he went to school with us. I don't remember. It was a hazy day, to say the least. But I was wearing one of those American Apparel, like acid wash kind of shirts, like tie-dye, but only one color.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Not the thing to be wearing when shrooming. But I ate way too much. Everyone's like, I'll have a reasonable amount, like a 16th. And I'm like, I'll have a 1/4 ounce because I'm never going to die.
Right.
And I was an insane person for about 8 hours.
Yeah.
The end of the night, I was like trapped in Oaks Park when it was locked down. But it wasn't open that day, so I just like went from the Selwood docks and like ended up in Oaks Park, which is the worst place to be.
Yeah.
When you're that high.
Yeah.
There's just too much of a rapey vibe there. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
I was gonna call my dad. I didn't understand how phones worked or what voices were, and like someone offered me chocolate, and I tried to eat it, and then I was just mad at my mouth.
Oh man!
But I totally thought I had it all together, but I freaked out at one point because I wanted all of my personal belongings. I was overwhelmed by how much I had on me. I was wearing shorts, I had a cell phone, shoes, and a shirt, and a bag of weed. But that was too much for me. Because it was like an ego loss thing, where you're like, oh, I don't need anything. I'm fine. I am the all. I am nature. All I need to do is be naked and work out and I'll be fine. I don't need relationships or people or things. And why am I even going to school? What is school?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, reality kicked back in, and things weren't as beautiful. And it's like, I have too many things. I'm going to lose everything. How am I in control of everything?
Right.
So I had the brilliant idea to tell everyone I was with. It was like 8 guys at this point. Guys, everything we belong goes in this bag of weed. This tiny half sandwich bag, and I was like taking my shirt off and like rubbing sand in my hair to calm down, and just like looking at people walking around, like trying to look crazy, but I'm like chewing on the side of my face. Like, and they took everything from me. They were like, "All right, Reed's on charge." But what the hell are we talking about?
Are you the type of guy, which you kind of already answered this question, but I guess outside of this situation, where you're good with like getting inebriated. Drinking's a little bit different because drinking's like in public, but like shrooms or weed and like being outside somewhere or like doing like an activity.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard because I mean sometimes that activity becomes the adventure.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, there's some people who are like, I'm gonna smoke weed, and I'm not gonna smoke weed and do something. That's insane. I'm smoking weed. I'm gonna be insane for 20 hours.
Yeah.
I actually don't do drugs at all anymore. At all. I don't even drink anymore too, because I just had too much fun.
Yeah.
But I used to be the kind of guy who I didn't think things through, and I would just do it and not think about consequences at all. I would be with my friends, eat a bag of shrooms, and then realize I have to go home in 5 minutes. And I've got to go have a conversation with my parents and act like I'm not on a different planet right now. No. And my parents have a lot of like Persian rugs with like really intricate designs. So anyone who's ever shroom knows it's really hard to hold a conversation with your parents when that's happening.
Right.
But I think that also bleeds over to most things in my life. I just have never like thought about consequences. So like, to answer your question, I just said fuck it.
Right.
I was like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
We're gonna take this adventure and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Usually nowhere good, but you get good stories out of it. And you learn.
There you go.
Which is
that's the important part.
What about not to just only talk about drugs in this podcast?
No, whatever.
But what makes you interested in doing
it? In what?
Taking shrooms.
Oh, shrooms. Yeah. Just because, like you said, I've never done it, and I've heard a lot of talk about different types of psychedelics and like the benefits that they can provide. Of course, it's like best experience, like right place, right setting, right company.
Totally. Right amount.
Yeah, right amount. There you go.
That's huge.
So I think it's pretty universally agreed that weed is relatively innocuous. You can, of course, you take a dump truck full. You're gonna have a crazy time, but it's pretty controllable.
So much weed.
Yeah, but it's just. I've heard like shrooms are, like you said, not exactly the same, but some in terms of like you're not jumping like right into meth or something like that. So it's just a little more.
Yeah, I think
digestible. I guess
people's, and this kind of sounds like possibly your motivation is to find out more about yourself or to find something more than yourself.
Yeah,
it's a huge reason people turn to that. For me, people turn to like religion or meditation. It's all that kind of like. That strange call to something, Yeah, totally. I think it's that when people talk about they have those experiences where it's like you said, you kind of question reality for a while. And that's, of course, a slippery slope, but it can be like a little, like a dose of that can be helpful. Totally.
Because I think we all have we all know that there's that voice in the back of our head where it's like, there's something more, like you're going about your daily thing, and even if your routine is great, like you're happy with your life and things are going well, there's still like it's just part, I think, of our primal nature. Not to use a weird phrase like that, but it's just part of us to want to like go out and explore, and that mindset creates that idea of like there's just something over the hill. Like, there's something over there.
Yeah.
You've got to go find it. Like,
totally.
There's got to be something good over there. So I think it's probably mostly that in terms of...
Stay curious podcast. I get it.
Yeah. So...
Thank you for asking a question now. It's right there in the name of the show.
So I think it's just a way to, like, get to that place. Not to mention it sounds like it's fun.
It can be great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you really, it's whatever you bring into it. People always say, like, make sure you don't have any baggage going into it.
Right.
Which is such a vague thing to say.
It really is.
I mean, that's
it's like, what does that mean?
Just immediately create terror in someone.
Yeah.
Like, do I have baggage? What the hell?
Yeah.
Should I do this? But yes, if you have a good relationship with yourself and you know yourself, it can be really beneficial. If you're doing it, your reasoning for doing it is huge too.
Right.
I think if you're doing it just for shits and gigs, you're more likely to, in my opinion, have a bad time. People probably disagree with that. They're probably like, oh no, you're going to have fun because you're not going to take it too seriously.
Right.
But, it's when you're not prepared for something terrible to pop up.
Right.
And it pops up, you're like, what the hell do I do? But if you go into it, I guess, with a friendly or healthy level of, like, searching, it can be really beneficial. It's almost like like juicing up on meditation, you know, it's like it just makes it a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. It's almost like taking a glimpse behind something you're not supposed to look at. Mm-hmm. You're like, what the hell? What's back there?
Right.
And then if you take that in your day-to-day life, then I think it's a beneficial thing.
Yeah.
But the people who like turn to it and only it, I think that's when you start getting weird.
Well, and I kind of along those lines, and again, this sounds a bit cliche, but like,
I love cliches.
Do you?
They're cliches for a reason. Like, some of the best insights are so corny.
Yeah.
And I wish people could get past that, because some of the I love bumper stickers. Bumper stickers are amazing.
Really?
Because I mean, most of them suck, but some of them you're just like, 1,000 years ago, that is just like the most like insightful wisdom, and now we just don't even think about it and plop it on the back of our cars. We don't even know what it means. Like, we're so spoiled. But like thousands of years ago, people would just like traverse thousands of miles of trying to sit at the feet of some like master to like learn. You
essentially
know,
have him give
make
him a
love,
bumper sticker.
not war. You know,
shit happens. Yeah, so to finish that, the cliche. I mean, it took me a second to get back on track there.
I have the worst ADD.
No, you're good,
I have
dude.
no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Where are we?
The moderation piece of that, right? So if you're like constant, if you're doing DMT every single day, probably not going to go well for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but every now and again, like with the right mindset and the right approach, like probably going to be helpful for you.
Yeah, and I mean, I think everyone has their own journey, their own path. I mean, I don't know what your take on higher power, that kind of stuff is, but I'm a believer that, at least what gets me through the day, is that, you know, everyone is on their own path. I mean, you're seeing everyone in the middle of their movie. Mm-hmm. You have no idea what they've been, where they're going.
Right.
You know, you have no idea what's right for someone. Mm-hmm. Like the general sweeping, like one solution for everything. I don't believe in that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what's right for me isn't what's right for you. What's right for you isn't what's right for me.
Right.
Because when people try to do those blanket statements or like get too preachy about it,
right.
That's when things just go off the rails. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think for some people it's really beneficial, and some people should never, ever even say the words. But it comes down to knowing yourself. If you know yourself, then you're going to be fine.
Yeah. And I actually kind of had a similar approach to tattoos. I have a few, 3, 4 tattoos at this point. But my first one, like leading into it, I was like, I wanted it to be perfect. And I think it's a symbol. It's probably a common thought process to be like, I want this. It's got to be like the most meaningful. But again, it all depends on the person.
Totally.
But that was my mindset. And then after I got one, it kind of shifted a little bit. And then after I got 1 or 2 more, it's like, okay, it's like it can just like look cool. It doesn't, you know. That's my opinion. But it doesn't have to like have this worldly significance.
Yeah.
Getting it like legitimately, you're gonna get a tattoo. You're gonna like it for like a couple months, and then you're gonna see it every now and again. You're gonna forget about it. You know, that's our mindset. It's like when you get anything else new, because it's a material thing. Like it doesn't. You don't necessarily process it that way. Like a tattoo is not like a bike that's hanging on your wall, but it's just right. It's just like a thing that you have, and you kind of lose sight of it after a while.
People take it so seriously when they get tattoos. They're just like, this has to be perfect, has the right meaning, because everyone, you know, wants to feel like it's just they're so important. Mm-hmm. You know, like this is the most important thing.
Right.
Like, you have to take it, have a little humor and humility in it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have fun with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Put ink into your skin. Have fun with it. Okay.
Yeah, you're already making that decision.
You know what? Like a tattoo is just gonna remind you of how stressed you were for 3 months trying to pick the right symbol. It's a Sanskrit.
Nice. What does that mean? That particular one.
The home symbol.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's Sanskrit for YOLO.
YOLO, love it.
No, this is it's the Brahman symbol of creation. It symbolizes 4 states of consciousness, the root chakra.
Cool.
People out there listening probably know way more. They're going to call bullshit on me and all that. But this is my first tattoo actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
I dig it.
It's vegan.
The tattoo is vegan.
It's vegan. There's no animal products in the ink.
Is there normally?
Apparently.
Really?
Yeah. Otherwise, Scapegoat Tattoo in Southeast Portland. Shout out.
I've been there. I actually have one.
Yeah.
Scapegoat.
All vegan ink.
Oh, really?
At least that's what I was told.
And is that because they're in the same like chain as the vegan food store?
I think it's just because they believe in that, or because they just use normal ink and wanted to fit in, and they're like, it's vegan ink.
Got it.
No one's gonna check up on this.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the best lie.
How do you?
How the hell am I gonna know? If they're doing that, they're geniuses. I don't think they would, but if they are, that's amazing.
Right. They just decide to say, fuck it, we're gonna go for it.
You just increase your audience doing that.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
But I'm totally like, I'm with you on having fun with it. Because Sarah, you've met Sarah or no?
I've heard about Sarah a lot.
Heard
so
Sarah.
I feel like I've met her.
Okay.
But I've never met her.
In a manner.
Yeah.
She's pretty inked up, and like she has a lot of like fun tattoos. But our hairstylist, we go to the same person. She is like really inked up, and she has these like
a tattoo her whole body.
She has a neck snake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's dope.
And actually,
I could never do that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Well, the way Sarah first even told me about this person, her name's Michelle. Shout out Michelle.
Shout out Michelle, friend of the podcast.
She told me about Michelle, and then in the same conversation, she said she has the most feminine neck snake I've ever seen. Or like a really feminine neck snake.
I hope she didn't explain any more after that.
Nope, that
just
was
stop right there.
Use the word feminine and neck snake in the same sentence. She was impressed.
That's so good. I'm changing my Instagram byline right now with feminine neck snake.
And I will say it's a pretty damn good neck snake. But yeah, she has like just fun like stuff on there. So yeah, to your point, it's like you just like anything else. I mean, me just coming up with goofy shit in the shower or like whatever, like you've got to be able to enjoy it. And I guess the overarching theme of what we're saying is that if you take life too seriously, it makes life a lot harder.
What's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm not like nihilist saying no one's that important, but like, I mean, have fun with your life and then you can do something important. If you take things way too seriously, you're never gonna have that like loose state like you were talking about earlier, where you get out of your own way,
right?
And actually enjoy life and do what you're supposed to do.
Well, and I personally think that if you, by taking life too seriously, what's kind of the underpinning of that is that you feel like you've got this figured out somehow.
Oh my God!
I know this is how this works. Yeah, exactly. So by like just kind of, like you said, being loose with it and having fun, it's like you're acknowledging the fact that, like, who the fuck knows what's going on? Like,
I don't. I can do it 100%.
Yeah, so I think that's a really valuable thing to just, first of all, discover and then, like, realize it's got to be a constant part of what you do.
Yeah.
That's
good. I like that.
Just got to let go a little bit.
Yeah.
So stand up. What else do you do? I don't know, so like
don't do drugs anymore. It was
backtrack, you're off of drugs, so we've covered that.
Not that it was on drugs. I'm not just like, my mom over here just gonna be like, I said don't talk about drugs. I said don't do it.
Your brain wasn't like that commercial where the eggs frying in the pan?
Yeah, no, never. I definitely thought like it. You
just went to Germany, didn't you?
Oh yeah, back in March. I went to Germany.
March, that's right.
Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Real country.
Liechtenstein.
Real country.
Did we? I can't remember if we talked about this a little bit off air way back, but how was that for you?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I only like going places where there's palm trees for vacation. So this was the one time someone's ever got me to go somewhere other than Hawaii. So I was like, sure, I'll go. I loved it. I loved it so much. The people there are amazing. I mean, the weather, it's basically Portland.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, as far as the climate, it feels a lot like Oregon.
Gotcha.
The people were so sweet. They were so nice. The food was amazing. Okay, I was a vegan before I went there.
Okay.
And then I decided, well, I'm going to Germany. I might as well just step off that for a little bit because it's going to be hard.
Right.
I ate veal every night on accident.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize it was veal, but every single night I had veal. It was so good. I get it. Like as someone who's a vegan, I was like, oh, this is terrible, but God, I can't stop eating it.
That's so funny you say that because I've had 2 different people, I think in this last week at work, have said that they're vegan normally, but they're going to be traveling. They have like upcoming vacations to Europe or somewhere, and they're like, so yeah, it was Italy. Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm definitely going to eat meat while I'm there.
Don't you love how malleable people's
it's just like, shape shifting.
Especially someone who's like plant-based, they're generally the most preachy people. But the second they're like, "Oh, I'm going to Italy.
Right.
Fuck this lifestyle. I'm getting all my leather on."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved it though. I mean, the view was great. The people were great. The scenery was great. I love castles.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Oh my god!
Because I understand there's quite a few castles.
There's and they're amazing.
Nice.
I just looked at them from afar. Or, like, I got up next to them. I didn't go to any of them. But there's something.
Are you allowed to? Can you go?
Yeah, you can tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I just love really old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Like I went to Heidelberg, or I said that completely wrong. I'm not even trying to say it right, but Heidelberg, like I said, there's a castle there. It's this old German town in like southern Germany, and it was amazing. This castle's built like in the 1200s.
Oh my gosh!
Like to me, to even fit, that was the oldest thing I've ever touched that was man-made. That was right there.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been around something that old.
Yeah.
And I was just in awe. I was like, how the hell did anyone do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was mind blowing for me.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about because you read about history and you hear people talk about it, but then when you actually like you said, go and like touch a piece of history that's like an actual thing, and then it somehow like draws all that other shit, like all that other like knowledge comes like raining back down, and you're like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
And like when I'm traveling by that stuff, I don't even really think about the cool stuff. I'm just like a little kid. I'm like, my God, look at this! But I'm like, a 6'6" gangly American walking around just like, Castle! And I'm that way anywhere I go if something's old. I'm just like, I turn into such a little kid traveling, which is how you should travel, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
If you take it too seriously and you're like, I'm so cultured, I know all this history.
Right.
I'm totally gets
all of a sudden you're wearing a beret and you've got one of those things that holds a cigarette.
Yeah, why? I don't know why they did that. That sounds wasteful. I just seemed like a terrible way to smoke, too. It just seemed like dirty all the time.
Did you go into any? Well, I guess you said you don't drink anymore, so you didn't go into any of those like German beer houses where they have like big.
Briefly went into one. I mean, just because I don't drink, but I'm still around it a lot. It doesn't really bother me that much anymore.
Right.
My girlfriend hears that she's like bullshit. It bothers you all the time. But podcast listeners, it doesn't bother me at all.
There we go. Cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, exactly. Just totally chill. Doesn't bother me. I'll buy you a drink. Find me on the streets. But it didn't really bother me. I mean, it's part of the culture over there, big time. So like to totally shut off to that is because I don't enjoy it.
Right.
It would be weird.
Yeah.
And I know some people have to, but like, it was cool to see. I mean, that's like. Beer over there is just something totally different. Yeah. Like in a way that I couldn't really comprehend. So I couldn't really partake. It's just so. I mean, it's just part of the culture. Not to sound like. I mean, I'm a dumb American. What do I know? I don't know anything about German culture. I don't know anything. But like to me, it seemed like it was a big part of the culture. Yeah. The people loved it. It was fun. Went to those. We were in Munich. Loved that city. Stayed at Airbnbs. Oh, nice. Shout out Airbnb. Yeah. Some amazing places. That travel credit you guys get. Hot fire. Yeah. Hot fire. God, ADD, what the hell was I going to say about that?
Sarah was telling me that just because she has some friends that are German, actually one of her really good friends from high school, I forget how his German connection is, but he just married a German girl. In the States, and they, like a bunch of German people came over. But she said the same thing. It's like, they just have a whole different capacity. Like, their mindset about beer is like, it's like you're drinking water or something. I mean, that's such a stupid comparison, but it's just not really, they just know how to handle it. Yeah. And there's like no way to keep up with them. No, I wouldn't even try. But yeah, it's just a kind of a different way they do it.
Honestly, I love German people. The people that I met, at least in Germany, were amazing. Yeah. They just think about things in such a different way. I mean, like, if you give me something that's like, this is German made, this is American made, this is something other made, I'm choosing the German made. Right. Everything they make over there is amazing. Yeah. I mean, I went to some of the worst outlet stores, and to me, it was like, this is the most high-tech, advanced thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I would buy anything if it said German made on it. Like, that was really smart. But it, I I don't know. It was just a great place to be. I would totally go back there.
Nice.
They say you can go to school there for free, I guess, if you're in the United States.
Oh, really?
I don't know. They kept telling me that, trying to get me to go over.
Yeah, they didn't want you to leave.
That'd be the case. But I would totally go back and live there.
Nice.
I loved it.
Nice.
Switzerland is super weird.
Is it weird?
That's the weirdest country I've ever seen.
Really?
And I've seen, 5 countries now, but it was the weirdest. I don't know anything.
They're racking up.
It was, right? Yeah, I got 3 stamps on my passport.
What's
just
strange about it?
The people,
Oh.
the place, the culture. I mean, I was there during something called Fastnacht, which is this weird, and I'm going to butcher this, so
Sure.
sorry to anyone who's listening and knows more about
Oh,
it.
we have tons of Swiss listeners.
Yeah,
they're
huge
very
Swiss, Southern German listeners. I know it's a big constituency for you. Very curious people. But it's basically this very traditional thing where they're basically pushing out winter.
Oh.
I think. Yeah, pushing out winter. It used to be like a small festival, but now it's like a month-long thing where they
Wow.
they have these clubs, I guess, that make these ornate masks look like a Sgt. Pepper Fever Dream, and they have these. Everyone plays the piccolo or flute over there. I know I'm not describing this in any coherent way, but in my head, what I'm seeing, I wish you could see it. It's just these parades everywhere. These tiny 3-person bands, these 100-person bands, just parading through the streets, playing this one fucking song all the time.
The same one?
I feel like it was, but you hear a flute or a piccolo enough, and it all sounds terrible and the same.
I played recorder in 5th grade. I remember.
Oh man, whatever happened to that wonderful instrument? I know you never see that anymore.
No,
you never see a philharmonic. Someone just bust out their ivory recorder and be like.
What a useful skill the school system taught us.
Why did they do that to us?
I don't know.
What did we learn? All I learned is that my music teacher hated me because I couldn't focus. Speaking of that, I broke a violin in kindergarten because they had a class violin, and I didn't know how to play, but I thought I did because I was born on St. Patrick's Day, and I saw someone do it in a movie once who was Irish, and I was like, it's in my blood. I've got it.
There you go.
Broke it. No one else got to enjoy it. Just ruined it day one.
That's kind of crazy that you had a violin, though, in kindergarten.
I don't know why they did
that. It's
that.
an intricate toy to have for some 4-year-olds.
It was weird. It was weird. You know where they don't have violins?
Where?
Switzerland. Because all they have is pickles and flutes. But back to that story. It was great because it was such a strange, welcoming, fun culture that apparently isn't that welcoming and fun, but it is.
Oh.
I don't know. It's just so.
Just give me a weird vibe.
I loved it.
Oh, you did?
It was loud.